This video is sponsored by Bityard. With over 400 cryptos to trade on their spot, perpetual coin futures, USDT futures, with leverage of 1x to up to 125x, you can trade foreign exchange, commodities like gold, silver and oil, and traditional markets like Nasdaq, all with some of the lowest fees available on any trading platform. You can use their copy trader to copy other traders with better performance than you, or you can become a copy trader yourself and earn a few extra percent from the people that follow you. Plus you got 9 out of 10 stars from the Coin Bureau guy. Bityard! Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at Bitcoin and altcoins, right, and what we're expecting from here. So just to let you know, we rotated out of our altcoins into Bitcoin over the weekend, mostly yesterday, and for what was going to be a reversal on the Bitcoin dominance chart this time. So as a week ago, 8 days ago, we made a move into Bitcoin, out of Bitcoin into altcoins for what has ended up being about between a 30 and a 50% move on its Bitcoin pair. Right, so that is a trade. That's a very successful trade. We made several of them, and then we rotated back out of those altcoins into Bitcoin. And now you can see that these altcoins, they're bleeding versus their Bitcoin pair, and Bitcoin is up roughly about 8% as at the moment. Like I say, it's all there for you to see. And like I say, you've got to watch and understand what it is that I'm trying to explain. Patreon members obviously know, but some people don't quite understand what it is that I'm doing here. But rotation count for a lot, so that's a 50% more Bitcoin that I've got this time round, give or take between 30 and 50%, depending on which altcoin I traded with. So now we were looking for the bounce, right? And this could be the bounce that takes us up and beyond this level, the 48%, the one that everyone was talking about prior to the move, right? Which is like, oh, Bitcoin is safe, get out of altcoins, blah blah blah. Whereas we went no, yeah, into some altcoins and then back into Bitcoin for what will be, yes, at that point you're correct. Right, so that's enough me blowing my own trumpet. Let's have a look at the weekly. So there's your there was your bottom target, really. If it broke down from there, which it might do, there's no reason why it can't, but it's about playing a safe bet kind of spot trades here. So that's a nice 30 to 50% in the bag. Now Bitcoin's up 8%. That's brilliant. That's the best of both worlds. I have now more Bitcoin when it was lower, and now it's gone higher. So it's that's the way to do spot trading, basically, if you trade using Bitcoin pairs. Done. We were also saying over here on, was it the 4-hourly, I believe? No, it was the daily actually. So we've had a golden cross on the daily on this, and this is where people start to get super bullish because you've seen a golden cross. I often say golden crosses often result in a dump down into it, and it would appear to be the case here for the Bitcoin dominance. So we had our move up, sort of a breakout with all the signals that you'd want on the Itchy Cloud as well for continuation, which have now also, just out of interest, they've also been cancelled out. So this particular uptrend, which began around here, has now been cancelled out from the Itchy Cloud. It doesn't mean that it's not going to go up again, it just means that the continuation of a trend has finished now. So we can't look to this one specific signal and go, oh, it's going to keep going up. It'll probably keep going up anyway, but it might not, and we've now got the end of trend signal for the dominance chart. But we're also expecting it to dump down anyway. We've dumped right down into the 200 exponential on a weekly, standard procedure. Those on the Patreon, you always they'll be sick of me repeating myself, but golden crosses often result in retests of them. Something you should really take to the bank there. If you ever see a golden cross with exponentials, expect to dump down into it. It happens most of the time. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens most of the time. Way more often than it doesn't. So there's your dominance chart, and now it looks as though we're going to get a rebound, and I would be looking for this to at least start to move up towards the 46 to 47 zone and see where we go from there. This could end up going into a downtrend, which would be great for altcoins, but for the moment, yeah, the rotation has been completed. We've rotated back into Bitcoin for the best of both worlds. It's been pretty awesome. So let's have a quick look at Bitcoin itself. So yeah, as we can see, all of these are down on the day, so that's what you want to see. That's exactly how you play the game, really. Right. Oh yeah, and for those who are still interested, my Bitsgap bots, I started another one, one day, 11 hours ago. They're yielding okay. This one's been going so far so good. I did a bit of buying and selling to try and make as much as I can. So I started with 1,000, and now we're just up about $100 from the bots that we've created and the accumulation of these of Ethereum and KCS at lower prices. So there's your little bot update. I don't really feel the need to make a part part 2 on the bot journey until I've at least doubled my money here. And it's you know, the doubling it to start with is the hardest part. Then you can obviously create more and more bots and double those and double those and double those and double those. So that's the game we're playing with the bots. No need to go into too much detail on that one. So let's have a think about Bitcoin over here. So the Bollinger Bands on 4 hourly are pinching still, and there's quite a range on here, so it is deceptive to see. So from the bottom to the top, it's 20% range. That's a big range for Bitcoin. Move it to the daily here to see what's going on. So on the first pass, this is our rejection here, and this could end up being a rejection. So this could be the top for this current move on Bitcoin currently. So I'm not suggesting it's the absolute top. I am looking for a sizable bounce, to be honest with you, a much larger bounce at some point down the line, and this could be it. But as far as the daily is concerned, this is your 7 simple moving average, and when you're in an extreme trend like the one we've been in recently, this has been a very extreme trend for the last 6 months or so. You know, this is the first moving average of any significance, which would either be, you know, tested as a support on the way up or resistance on the way down. So we've been highly extended on this sell pressure all the way, and now we've come up to revisit the first moving average since, well, we're talking 10 days ago really, since we even touched a moving average. So it is a big deal for Bitcoin, and see where we go from there. Let's just move it back down to the 4 hourly. We are above the Bollinger Band Center. We've got a support on it here, and so far it's the 10 exponential on the 4 hourly. It does look quite good, I have to say, on the 4 hourly. But it's too early to ask for any kind of continuation beyond this point because of the 7 simple that we've seen on the daily. Obviously, all other time frames are going to be wrecked city, but we'll check this 12 hourly. So the 12 hourly has been quite good. It's had bullish divergence all the way down to this capitulation low, which has been quite good. And so this could be the one that plays us up even higher. So if we're thinking about the 12 hourly now, we could have continuation up to this point here, which is just short of 23,000. So it's all about this exact level that we're sitting at right now, this exact level. We'll call it just bordering the, we'll call it probably this candle body here. So closing above 20,600 should cause continuation towards the mid 22,000 zone. So that's, I know for most people you're like, oh, this is nothing, oh, what's the point, I'm sick of Bitcoin just going down all the bloody time. But look, you can still trade this. It's all very tradable, whether you're buying for the future or you're trading it with spot or with rotations from altcoins to Bitcoin and vice versa. It's all very tradable, like I say, on this downtrend, despite me dollar cost averaging into it, just from that rotation that I did the other day, I've increased my Bitcoin size by, well, like I say, between 30 and 50%. The weakest performing altcoin that I rotated in increased my Bitcoin size of that trade by 30% in the space of about 5 or 6 days. So it's very tradable. And you know, I know that there's a lot of FUD out there, people saying Bitcoin's dead. You know what, I've heard all of that before. In fact, I've heard it every year. Never mind, you know, the size of this dump so far. Obviously, I'm going to hear it a lot more right now. Heard it 2018 when I was buying into it. Really, at the very end, Bitcoin's dead. Why are you buying it? I heard it after it reached 14,000, all the way back down to you know, to the capitulation dump of basically below 4,000. Bitcoin's dead, man. It went on to make a massive all-time high. And back in May as well, Bitcoin's dead. Guess what? I made another all-time high after then. So the only problem you're going to find, I would say, for Bitcoin is time and patience, and it's not for people without the I suppose the balls for it, really, because it can be testing, and for the most part Bitcoin is like that. I know that people have been spoilt recently with the way that Bitcoin basically went all the way straight back up and all this FOMO basically, but for the most part this is your Bitcoin chart: up, down, up, down, up, down, and then straight up, and then down, and then up, and then down. So it's just exactly the same as it's always been, really. There's no difference to it. The only difference is that now we're going down. This has become more and more attractive to buy, and that's how you should hold on to it. Now, we've got all these levels down here, which are extremely relevant. 16,000, basically 14,000, 12,000, and then 0, basically. But it doesn't mean that it's not a tradable chart. And also at the same time, you know, I am expecting the everything bounce. I'm going to make a video about the everything bounce today. I know that American markets are largely closed, but we do have 24-hour contracts, and Oil is open as well, but if we just have a quick look at oil, you know, we're still sort of meandering down below major moving averages exactly as predicted. What we're trading at now below 110, which is a key area, I would say, for inflation data. And this is all we're trying to do with the everything bounce. We're trying to work out if commodities like oil and wheat come down and the Dixie comes down as well, all at the same time, then we're going to see a sizable bounce on the Nasdaq, S&P, Dow Jones Industrial Average, all of these things, stocks generally across the board, and crypto through association with that. So the everything bounce is very much still in play. I started talking about it at the end of last week. Was it Thursday, Friday? I said I'm going to present this opportunity that I'm taking advantage of to you, see how you feel about it, and we're basically just trying to number crunch the CPI data by use of TA. And it seems as though it's very likely to have shown a significant peak, I would say, last month, and will be down quite sizably if this carries on in this trajectory. So commodities going down, Dixie going down, and we're going to find ourselves a balance. So I positioned myself in across the board, a spread across the board of all these major all these major indexes, and obviously very interested in the way that Bitcoin and crypto is going to behave as well. And it looks as though it's kind of playing out. Now, we've not hit those lower zones of supports when it comes to major indexes, but it was only between 3 and 5% away from the major supports. And if you really want to get in on something, you front run those areas, and I'm happy to see 3 to 5% down before I see potentially 30 to 50% up, which is kind of what we're looking at for major indexes. And you can only imagine what would happen for Bitcoin and altcoins throughout that situation as well. So I'm very much in favor of that. The analysis, like I say, it's still early days, but it's moving in the direction that I thought it would, which is encouraging. Obviously the rate hike took place. That's going to have some effect on the inflation data, not too much probably this time round, but ongoing it probably will. So I know that everybody's waiting for this huge massive crash in the market, and that may be the case, that may happen as well, but before that big massive crash, I think there's going to be a sizable bounce, and that bounce I've called the everything bounce. So watch those videos as well. I'll leave little links above my head somewhere. Right, so in a nutshell, Bitcoin at decision making time as we speak, and the key would be to close above and to remain above 20,600, I'd say, for continuation. So 20,600 is just a little, is basically where we're at right now, but all these major supports being just a little bit above that, about 20,800, and that should move us up into the 22,000s and see where we go from there. If this works out with crypto, as it might work out for all major indexes, although I think it's a little early to expect that, but I have already positioned myself with those major indexes, then yeah, we may have swept maybe the all-time low, but certainly we've swept some significant lows, and the biggest moves now for all of these things are going to be to the up, stocks and indexes and crypto. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it with you there. A bit of an overview, there's a lot to digest, but it's just really just mostly complimenting me on my own trading behavior. I'm still in the game, I'll remain in the game. It's a tradable, a very lucrative environment, even if you don't want to do derivatives, which I suggest you don't if you're not ready for that kind of thing. You can still make the most of spot by accumulating those bitcoins. Well, I wouldn't say it's easy, but the reads have been significantly well targeted, to be honest with you. Rotation around here from the 48.7% dominance, tagged exactly, and just ever so slightly front run that weekly 20 moving average, which again, like I say, as we were heading towards it, I said let's just rotate anyway. Let's get it done. Whether Bitcoin crashes and altcoins crash harder this time, or Bitcoin moves up and leaves the altcoins behind, which has been the latter. That's been what's happening at the moment. But again, altcoins are still a massively wrecked city and have a long way to move up, and they could easily do that. I'm not writing off altcoins at all. I hold altcoins, certainly. But when it comes to making rotations, then this is how the game's played, really. You take what you can where you can. 30 to 50%, I'll have that. That's no problem at all. I'll take that, and I will look forward to the next major rotation where I can do it all over again. Right, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy. Squeaky chair.